So instead of investing in, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars in a facility downtown that is used largely by people that don't live here, what the study from the St. Louis Federal Reserve and every other study done says, that money doesn't go, it doesn't leave the neighborhoods, it doesn't leave the region, it stays right here, it stays in our neighborhoods, it stays in Newburgh Heights, it stays in Collinwood, it stays in West Park, it stays in Lakewood, it stays here. Instead of getting siphoned off into a billionaire's stat sheet somewhere. You know, it's disappointing to watch and see so much evidence out there arguing against municipal taxes for public facilities that aren't really owned by the public. We don't get the profit from these. Look, I get it. There's a ton of great union jobs that are temporarily created, particularly for the trades, the building trades, iron workers and sheet metal workers and carpenters, all that stuff while these are going on. These are temporary jobs. And the cost to the region as a whole is far greater than the benefit created for those jobs. Those jobs could be used and would be created in other segments of our regional economy through investment in the infrastructure and the needs that exist here if we weren't siphoning that money to the Dolan family or the progressive, to the Cleveland Indians. So the money exists, it's not going away, those jobs are still going to get created. They're just not going to be on that facility. You know, do we as the working people of this region, is it our responsibility to be on the hook for hundreds of millions of dollars, which appears to be every other year or every fifth year now, so that we can say that we're creating a few hundred jobs that are temporary? The answer is no. I go to probably 20 or 25 games a year at Progressive Field. And I've talked to the vendors, and these are temporary jobs. The positions that they make they're low paying, they're temporary, they're not every night, and they're through a temp service. There's no benefits there. So the argument is, well, we're going to lose all these jobs. All these people from these poor neighborhoods are going to lose their... Those jobs amount to servitude for the most part. There's a serious problem with an economic model that says we have to pay a billionaire class hundreds of millions of dollars for the right to eat some scraps off the table to pay some folks that essentially keeps them poor. What's wrong with that model? That if that's how we're going to operate, then we need to reevaluate what we're doing, and what we need to do that is we need the elected officials in this county to stand with me on this issue and figure out a way to get out of this cycle that will never end if we don't take a stand and accept the fact that, you know what, the world is not going to come to a crashing end if we don't have a pro sports team down here. We need to find a way to unwrap ourselves from this servitude, and that's going to take the elected leadership of this county standing with me and recognizing, yeah, it would be hurtful. Our pride would be hurt. It was hurt in '95 when the Browns left. Our pride would be hurt, but our lives would continue. We as Clevelanders, we as greater Clevelanders, our existence is not about our sports teams. It's about the grit that we have for taking care of each other. We built this country. You know, the steel mills, which I can see from here, from where I'm sitting right now, built and fueled the growth of the middle class and the prosperity of this region. It didn't involve funding the Cleveland Indians, the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Those things were built without needing us to pay millions of dollars to a franchise. So I'm asking my fellow elected officials to stand with me and figure out a way for us to unwrap this process, turn these facilities back over to the billionaires so that we can benefit as a region. They get their profit from their team. They get to continue to maintain their sports franchise here. And we get to benefit of having a pro sports facility in the region. It can be done. It was done for decades before this model was developed. So join with me, click the link below here, help me fight this fight. to bring elected officials along. I can tell you there are people in elected office that if they know you're standing with me and we're standing together and we're going to stand side by side with them to say no, this cycle has to be broken, we need to find a different way, I can tell you they'll come out front. They'll join me. They'll join me to say, you know what, you're right. We want the Cleveland Indians, the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Cavaliers to stay here. But we're tired of having our community, after standing by these franchises for decades. We built the facilities they're working in. We stood by them and went and go to games in droves. Even after they tore these franchises down to nothing, we still went to the games. We still bled with them on Sundays. Every time the Indians went through a losing streak, we went through, well, there's going to be next year. And we still showed up on opening day the next year. So yeah, look, I'm glad the Indians are making some strides to be more thoughtful to their community. They're talking about changing the name. I'm all for that. But look, it's time that we as the taxpayers stop getting raked over the coals for a billionaire class and an economic model that isn't capitalism. It's socialism for the wealthy and servitude for the rest of us. Enough is enough. Join me, click the link. Let's take a stand here. Let's save our Cleveland Indians without making your pocketbook a little bit lighter.